children are watching, are you teaching them how to lead and live their lives? Or are you teaching them how to lose themselves while taking care of everyone else? This video is probably one of the most important videos you're going to watch, because I'm going to be really honest, and it's going to be uncomfortable. But if you click off this video without listening to the end, this is going to continue. There's no guarantee that this problem is going to be solved if you don't see what the real problem is. It's not a time issue. It's an access problem. Everyone has the opportunity to interrupt your time, and when they do that, they interrupt your peace. When they lack boundaries and they move into your communal space and they get on your calendar, and then their urgencies become your priority, it's this endless availability. And there is a belief system around that keeps us in this cycle. And that is, not making ourselves accessible is rude, selfish even. I remember feeling very much so like this. In fact, I had to really do a deep dive when it came to how I lived and lead my own life. And that's how I'm able to talk to you about this so candidly. I'm Dr. M, for those of you who don't know me, and I absolutely love helping high-functioning moms so that they can rising leaders, is what I call them, without losing yourself. Today, I want to really do a deep dive in what it looks like to stop prioritizing your schedule and start scheduling your priorities. And I know that it sounds, simple and easy. I like to say things that sound simple and easy for you to remember. That particular quote is one of my favorite quotes by Stephen Covey. If you are in love with leadership as much as I am, then I'm sure you've heard of him. And one of the things you'll find with me in my videos is that I want to be simple. I want to be practical. And so I want to share with you just some practical things I know for me that made it very challenging for me to lead in my home and in my work. And when I say work for me, it's not just about what you get paid to do. It is about your deployment. So not necessarily your employment, right? You can do purpose work there, of course. This can be integrated. However, your deployment is what you were called to do, that work. And the type of things that I teach in this video is going to allow you to be able to amplify how you show up in your purpose. And not just as a mom. Of course, I love working with moms because we carry so many priorities. And it feels like everything is important, and many things to many people are urgent. And the problem with that is that it will lead you into invisible labor, right? And that is the exhaustion that we're feeling. Oftentimes we live in this lifestyle that many people will trade with us. We've several of achievements, and we have the material, things to show for our hard work and our resilience, and we really find ourselves in bed at night wondering, why do I still feel like this? And we begin to normalize it, and we think that success just equates to being tired, to pushing yourself, and to ignoring the signals that our body gives us. And so today we're going to have an identity shift, and it's going to start with the way we see the very practical things in life, like time. I really want to unpack time because honestly, I feel that it is a glorified distraction. It is not really the real culprit. And I want to shift you from focusing on managing time to now focusing on what I call self-management. It's not really a time issue. It's a self-management issue. Right? And self-management is just a fancy word to say leadership, because that's what we're doing when we're leading ourselves. We're managing the different areas in our life that matter. And the highest performing leaders, and this has been researched over 16 years of me doing this work, I have found that we really only focus on about 3 to 4 areas. And sometimes you've seen even other thought leaders talk about, faith and family and fun. And, focusing on, these things that are part of our lives. But there's really 8 domains of leadership, and I want to be able to share with you what those 8 areas are so that you can truly see your life within these 8 domains. And the powerful thing about this, because this is why I say it's root work, is that this is the root. As a leader, when you are able to manage those 8 domains, then you do get faith, fun, family, and finances, and all of those 4 to 5 things that typically people like to address. Is really the outcome of doing the soul work. And that soul work is that leadership, that underground work, that stuff that nobody really sees, the work that really takes a lot of courage. And so I admire my clients. I say that all the time. I admire them because when we step into vulnerability and transparency, that's not for the weak, right? That is for the high functioning leader, the parent leader, not just the one that is raising children, but the one that is raising a rising leader. And they understand the stewardship of that call. And they prioritize that call more than they prioritize their job or their calendar and other these things that seemingly take our attention away from the real purpose, the real work, right? So I want to help to clarify the call, okay, by allowing us to shift from time management. So what does time management look like? Time management often happens when we are managing every minute, right? So managing minutes. I'm laughing because I remember when I was doing this. And the thing that's so detrimental about managing minutes is that you have this very low tolerance for things that are happening outside of your control. Like curveballs, they're the worst when you manage minutes. Because it's like, I didn't manage this. I didn't put this in the equation, And I used to even manage little buffers, just in case. But, you just can't control the things that are happening outside of you. And even things that came up that was for my kids, like they left their book bag at school, at home, and I needed to bring it to school, or, all different types of things that would come up unexpectedly. It would frustrate me. Even when they got sick, literally, if my children got sick, I would get frustrated. I remember that, and it wasn't because I didn't want to care for them or be a good mother to them, but it was because I was thinking about how that just ended up messing up all of these other pieces that I had lined up. So the number one stressor is when you start managing your minutes and you're trying to maximize your time, because it leaves little room for creativity. And creativity is the flow state that, oh my gosh, it takes leaders to a whole nother level of achievement and of beingness and effectiveness and being valued, which we talked about in another video, the importance of shifting from being needed to being valued. That's how you move into that value state, right? And so you want to move away from managing minutes. Another thing that you'll find yourself doing is maximizing your time is that you miss memorable moments. You miss significant moments, and you do it unawareingly. So say, for example, your child has to be picked up at 4:30. And so you pick up the child and, you got a call. You got to take this quick call. It won't be long. And you end up doing that. But then when you get off the call, your mind is thinking about the call and what you need to do to prepare for the next call. Or, you go into this mode of deep thoughts, and it's just before you know it, you have this whole mental web happening, this whole world that's happening inside that no one can see. And then you have your children talking to you about all types of things that happen in their day, what they had for lunch, and depending on the age of your child, you are there, but you're not there, right? And this is what we mean when we say being fully present. That is the risk that you run, because conversations, even the seemingly, mundane conversations, is what creates that psychological safety for your family. And we miss those moments, and we rob them from the ability of having our attention, right? And so what this does, managing minutes, it actually becomes the stimuli for you to focus on things that are fleeting. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to move you over to self-management leadership, and this puts you in the flow state, and this is what we want. And the best way, the fastest, most effective, efficient, and simple way to protect this space is to focus on the priorities, right? And so when you learn to schedule your priorities effectively, that's when you're able to ebb and flow throughout your day. Because as long as those main things get taken care of in the day, then the rest of the stuff will be there tomorrow for you to address. And really getting good at identifying what those key indicators, like if nothing else gets done, these things get done. Making sure one of them is that eat the frog task, right? That thing that you just are resisting, but you know will move the needle in your life, in your business, in your work life. That's the thing that you want to focus on. And that way you leave the rest of the space to be present, to fully be in that moment, to feel all the feels of the day, the highs and the lows, because they all are there to serve you. This is where truly the magic is happening in your leadership, because if you really are in tuned, then you can actually move yourself from reactive state to responding to now in discernment. You cannot move into a state of discernment, can't position yourself in that state when you have loud noises. Noises of phone calls, noises of emails that you have to respond to, noises of all the thoughts that's going into your head. All these things that we create, we then have to tolerate. And this video today is sharing with you how you no longer have to tolerate this invisible labor that so many of us, especially moms, have been normalizing for so long. It's time for us to release. And if you are listening to this video and you're like, you know what, Dr. M, I want to take my next step. I want to encourage you to download the absolutely free Mindset Reset Guide so that you can start mind mapping your way to freedom. And the reason why I do these in mind maps are very simple frameworks that you can do to get your mind thinking and reprogramming, because that's what it is. It's very counterintuitive. But once you start getting some clarity around your vision and your boundaries and your organization and sustainable systems and all the things that we've kind of talked about throughout our time together, then you'll start feeling yourself get grounded. Your leadership gets grounded. Your family has direction. You have more clarity. Now you're hearing things more, discerning from the highest version of yourself. You're co-collaborating, what I call you're syncopating yourself with the rhythm of heaven. That's when you start getting downloads on things that haven't even happened yet. And you can step into it with a prophetic unction and a knowing, an inner knowing. It's a confidence that cannot be replicated, that cannot be translated by AI. Right? It is authentic leadership at its finest. And so if you're listening to this and you're like, yes, I want that, it starts with you saying yes to yourself and the commitment that your season would allow. And so if you want to start by just doing your own mind mapping and your blueprints, then click on the Mindset Reset Guide link and get started on your journey. But if you want to say, you know what, I want to take this to the next level, I want to, really get some strategic support so that I can feel lighter and step into the fullness of who I am without compromising my peace, my health, my family. If that is you, then I want to encourage you to join our stabilizer. Join it, go into our app, use our stabilizer, get into our ecosystem, and start your journey to complete freedom. Until the next video, bye-bye for now.